Alright guys, so today I'm going to focus on the foreground. So here's my photograph again. I'm going to put in these rocks. And don't forget to put in the shadow. See how I have a shadow right here? So I am going to do that. First I'm going to mix my colors. Okay, so I mixed some paint and I was just going to use again my transparency and check out the color. I mixed a gray for the rocks, but I also mixed some green because I can see some green in the rocks. So first I just want to touch it and see right there you can see that's gray. So I need to make the rocks a little bit more brown. So I need to mix a brown. Okay, so I mixed kind of a browny gray and going to check it out and see that is a lot closer. The other one is here. And here's this one, a lot closer. So we're going to use that. And I'm just going to start to paint in the shapes of the rocks. So I should have probably said at the beginning, I'm using the small flat brush and I'm using this brown with gray to put in a base coat of the rocks to cover that blue. And it doesn't matter that some of the blue is showing because this is in the foreground. So anything in the foreground you want to have lots of details. So that means you're going to have lots of layers of paint. And so after a while the blue won't show through. The blue also kind of tones it so that it's in the same color family as the rest of the painting. So if a little bit of blue shows through, it's not a problem. If a lot of blue shows through, it won't really look at all like a rock. So you kind of got to weigh those two things. And then the other thing I'm doing is painting the edges. Make sure you paint all the way around the edge. Because it is like a little bit of a three-dimensional, you know, it's the third dimension. So people will be able to see that part. So you just don't want it to be a weird color. You want it to match the rest. So I'm just going to continue to paint in the rocks and then I'm going to paint in some details. So here we go. Alright, so I've got my base coat on there and now I'm going to add in some of my highlights with just the light gray. So as I look at my picture, I notice the highlights are on the right side. There's a little highlight there and this is mostly in highlight. So I'm just going to continue to paint and you guys can watch. Alright, I forgot to record that, but I just put the highlight in. The highlight color in, and now I'm going to mix a little bit darker gray. So I'm getting some light gray, and I want it to be that browny gray again. So I'm going to take some of my green and and mix it in. And take some of my red and mix it in to make brown. And then once I get the brown kind of color I want, I'm going to add in some black. Okay, so this is where knowing how to make brown really comes into play. The reason I chose to make brown with green and red is a couple reasons. One, I literally just had red or green on my palette, and red comes pre-mixed, so that was easy. But also because I'm using green in the trees and everything, and so it will kind of bring that unity together to have both. To have that green and then adding red. Okay, so because that's what I did in the trees too. So there's a darker, and I can check it, darker brown. I can check it here. It needs to be a little darker. This is just kind of what I do. So let me put it on fast forward. Now what I want to remind you is, why am I not just painting like this? Why am I not just dragging my brush? Why am I pouncing? Well, the reason is because I want still some of that color underneath to shine through or come through to give it more texture, more detail, because this is something that has a lot of detail. Anything in the foreground has a lot of detail. So, and the other thing I want to say is I have my highlight and I have my shadow, but right where they meet, I need to mix just a little bit lighter color. So I'm going to do that as well and put in some more paint. So I thought that I would zoom in and show you a little bit of the detail. I'm just taking my darker gray, browny gray, and just tiny dots in little places to add that texture. Because this rock, the photograph of this rock, suggests that it has lots of little tiny divots and little cracks and stuff, and so I want to make sure I represent that, and this will give it more three-dimensional form as well. So tiny dots, and I kind of going back over them and kind of blurring them out a little bit. So just the details in this in the foreground really do matter. And if you get it wrong, like I feel like I just kind of got that wrong, just go back with another color or another gray until you get the desired look. So this takes a lot of time. I'm not going to take up your time by making you watch all of it, because you, as an artist, would fiddle with this for hours and hours, maybe even days and days. Okay, so the last part is I want to put in the shadow down at the bottom here. I have a pretty dramatic shadow here. It's really dark. And so I'm just going to use my dark gray. All right, so there is my final painting. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm sure that I'll work more. I don't really like the grass, so I'm going to probably work more on the grass, but for our video demonstration purposes, I believe that that is a great place to stop. Wish you good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.